Hey, so good morning. Hi, my name is Maddie, and I'm a clinical student in training right now, and I'm going to be doing your intake today. Um, Part of what it means that I'm a student is that I work directly under supervision of a clinical licensed psychologist, and so they're going to be working on this case with me, with what's going on with you today, and that's part of why it's being recorded. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, do you have any questions about me being a student or being under supervision?
No.
No. Okay, all right. Before we get started, I do want to take some time to discuss confidentiality. Are you familiar with confidentiality?
Um, like what you can tell and what you can't.
Yeah, exactly. So, part of being in a therapeutic relationship means that what you say to me stays between us. It's protected and it's private. But there are limitations to confidentiality. And so I want to go through what some of those are and see if you have any questions about them. So the first one is that if you share with me that you're thinking of hurting yourself or others, particularly children under 18 or elder abuse, I'm going to have to contact the proper people um, to make sure that you get the care that you need in those instances. Does that make sense? Okay. Another instance is, like I mentioned, I work directly under a supervisor, so I will be discussing your care with my supervisor regularly.
Okay.
And really, that just looks like you having two therapists in one. And then lastly, if your case or your records were to be subpoenaed by a court of law, I would do my best to protect your privacy, but I might be legally bound in those instances too, where confidentiality would have a limit.
I understand.
Okay. All right. So now we've done all of the confidentiality spiel and introducing me. Why don't you tell me a little bit about you and what you're coming in today for?
Um, at this point, I've just become completely sick of the medical system. Like I tell people all the time that I'm just in so much pain and I just can't sleep. And I say the same things over and over again, and they give me this runaround statement. They give me all of these tests, and they come up with nothing. Every single time they come up with nothing. I've been here like a handful of times, and I always come up with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't help me. So maybe they keep saying that it might be in my mind, even though I know I'm in pain, I feel it,
Mm-hmm.
but they just won't help me. They just keep turning me away. So at this point, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I just don't want to be miserable like this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you've interacted a lot with the healthcare system, the medical system in particular, and they just keep turning you away. They keep invalidating you, it sounds like.
Yeah, they act like I don't know my own body. I've been here for 48 years. I understand, when stuff is not right, and I know stuff is not right. But every time I try to tell them what's going on with me, they just like shoot me off as if they have better stuff to do or more important stuff to do or any severe cases. But I don't really think they listen to me.
So you really don't feel heard or understood in those systems.
No, especially not now.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about why.
Well, mainly it's because I'm trying to get answers. Like I said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm tired all the time. I have so much pain and aches all the time. Like I want to be able to live my life and get a job and, be social and, just live. I don't think every day waking up with excruciating pain is any way to live for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to live again. I just want to feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. You just want to live again. You just want to feel better. Tell me about when all this started, the excruciating pain in the morning, the pain throughout the day, the aches you're describing.
I would say about 2 or 3 years ago. At first, it wasn't as severe or it didn't happen as often, but as the years progressed, particularly this past year, like I've been going like a dozen times, like a month basically for the past year.
And tell me where you're going.
I'm just to my local hospital.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to the ER.
And so this year in particular feels like it's been way worse than prior
Oh,
years.
100%.
Tell me about how you know it's worse. What does that look like?
Well, I would say at first I know it's worse because I used to be able to do some things. I used to be able to get up and go to the grocery store. I used to be able to get up and, push myself to work at least or push myself to do chores. But now it's like I just can't do anything. I don't not work anymore. I get everything sent to me, like, the Instacart and stuff like that. Like every task just seems too much to bear.
Mhm, mhm. So in this way, it really feels like your ability to function and do the things you want to do. You're not doing that right now. You can't do that.
No, not at all.
And that's what makes this different right now.
I would say, I would say so.
You mentioned work in there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, so growing up or whatever, like my parents had like their own business, but um after we sold that off, I started to try to be an underwriter, just to have something to do, since I had worked all my life or whatever. But like I said, that didn't last too long. I was there for maybe like 8 months or a year or so, but it's a job, so you only get so much time off or so many chances to leave early, and
Right.
they just weren't being accommodating. And really, to be honest, like I just couldn't do it anymore, so I stopped.
Okay. So right now, are you not working currently?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. And right now, do you live alone? Do you live with other people?
I live by myself.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you like
Um, yeah, I'm used to it.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned your parents.
Mhm.
Where are they?
Well, my father passed away. And after my father passed away, that's when I took a more active role within the family business.
Yes.
But then my mother started to get older, and like I said, then I started to have my health issues. So it was a struggle. Like it was a constant struggle trying to, make the money just and upkeep the place and the suppliers and the merchandise. So really, it just got too much for the both of us. So she sold it and sold, sold it and retired. And I tried to, work in a different field, but like, how that ended up. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry for the loss of your father. Would
Thank
you say
you.
that you're close with your mother?
Mm. Oh, what do you mean by close?
Do you guys talk frequently? Does she know about the chronic pain you're sharing with me?
Um, I told her that like I hadn't felt my best recently, but we check in maybe, for special occasions and different things like that. But as far as like day to day go, like I don't talk to her, but I mean, I don't really talk to anybody. So I don't know.
So it kind of ties into my next curiosity, which is your support group. Do you feel like you are supported? I know you don't feel supported by the medical system. So I'm curious, and it sounds like not really by work either. So I'm curious if you feel like you have any supports of friends or sibling, anything like
um, to be honest, like I feel really lonely.
that.
Like, you know, like I said, the medical system has really kind of created some resistance there. I don't any longer work. They let me go because they couldn't accommodate to my needs and my, things that were happening with me. I never was really close to my parents. I mean, they were my parents, and that was that. Yeah, I don't really have too many friends, or I don't even consider friends like associates, maybe like acquaintances. Like if I see them, I'll say hello, but like it's really just me, honestly.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. With the loneliness piece that you're describing, do you feel like you felt that for most of your life? Is that something that you remember, one time, no, I didn't feel lonely? Or has it kind of been an arc of an experience?
Um, it's funny you say that because the way I grew up, I thought it was like the norm. Like my life has kind of always been like this, and then I didn't really notice that it wasn't supposed to be until like I got older and I got in school and I saw how other students were with their friends or the relationship they had with their parents, and then I realized like I was the one who was off because I never had those types of relationships. So I guess it's just kind of been like the norm for me, and I'm just realizing it.
And it sounds like there's part of you that wishes that you had more support.
I would say so. I think if I had more support, or at least someone who even believed in me or like the things that I say to them, I think that maybe, it'll give me some relief in a way, like that. Like I said, what I'm saying is not in my head; it is factual. Like it just and someone to listen to take the time to help me. I don't have anyone to help me. No one really cares.
Mhm. Mhm. It's really helpful in terms of you explaining like this isn't a new feeling per se, but the pain that's coming from a physical experience is more new. It's more intense right now than it has been.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's now it's keeping me up at night. It's not allowing me to sleep, and
Mm,
life it's just a lot. It's becoming very overwhelming.
mhm, mhm. I'm curious in terms of, you're kind of talking about seeing other students during, school and even associates and peers now and seeing that there is a difference there. I'm wondering in terms of thinking about your culture and kind of your experience here, how do you view it? How do you see that piece impacting your experience? Either the loneliness piece that you're describing or um, the pain that you're experiencing physically. How would you say your culture, whether that's your identity, whether that's um, certain parts of your experiences and relating with others, how do you see that impacting this?
Um, when you say like parts of my identity, like what do you mean?
Yeah, like identity thinking specifically in this instance, like what makes me me, right? Like, for instance, I am a woman. I am identified as white. My pronouns are right. Like, I think of myself in a certain way. So that's what I mean by identity.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess culturally, like I don't. I guess that's just another area that I didn't really fit in. So my parents, they're not from here. They actually came from Malaysia. And so we came over here when I was like really, really young. We moved to Connecticut, and in Connecticut, it was predominantly like, people who look like you, like no offense, but it was just a lot of that, and it wasn't like a lot of people who look like me, and like, from my background, like the Asian background, everything like that. And also, I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like people were different. I think that like my parents being older too, like, like they weren't as like involved or like as like acquainted to like the style of living when we got over here.
Mhm.
So it was kind of just me trying to like figure it out because they one were not that close, but then two, like they just couldn't, like they didn't get it. Um, so I don't have any siblings or something like that to look up to, or thankfully I don't have anyone to look up to me either, because that would have been a train wreck. But so I guess, like I said, like not having someone who looked like me, and then also not having that relationship or someone to lean on to help guide me. Um, like it just kind of, in a way, just kind of fed that overall theme of just feeling alone.
Mhm. Mhm. Do you feel like there were instances growing up where your parents didn't believe you or invalidated your experience of something?
I would say like they just kind of like had a get it done attitude. Like we're here to do whatever job, like you're a student, okay, be a student. You're at work, okay, work. Like it really wasn't room for anything other than the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions were not really discussed or thought about. It's really just about what are you here to do
Mm-hmm.
and get that done by any means.
And how do you feel about
I think it definitely made me, I would like turn off a lot of things. Like I didn't really pay attention as much to how I was feeling or what I was going through, simply because I felt like that wasn't important. What was important was the task at hand, to be a daughter, to be work at the store, to be a student. Like I just felt like I just have to get it done by any means, regardless if I was hurting, regardless if I was sad or lonely or whatever. Like that didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of it not mattering and what did matter was the task at hand, how did you manage that? How, if, on a particularly difficult day, did you make your feelings around you right now? How did you do that?
Um, I honestly, when I was younger, like it wasn't time. Like you got to get up in the morning to make sure that everything is like clean and stuff when you leave out to go to school. I went to school as soon as I came home from school. I worked at the grocery store, and after the grocery store, I did homework and I studied and I went to bed, and
Mhm.
I did that day after day after day. So when you are so busy, you really don't make yourself so busy, and you are so busy. Like sometimes that stuff is sound like out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
And now I think that because the store is no longer, they don't have every soda, and because I can no longer work, is I have nothing to do but just
Mm.
sit and see now that all this stuff has been happening right before my eyes, and
Mm.
I don't know, I didn't know it, I didn't feel it, I didn't see it.
Do you feel like now it sounds like you think you are now seeing, feeling, knowing these things.
For sure, for sure.
And it also sounds like you're making a connection between having more time to actually pay attention to what's happening within you is part of what is bringing up the more time you have, the more awareness sounds like you're having. Is that true?
Um, Awareness.
Yeah, awareness. Like what you were just describing really of I have time and I'm paying attention to what's going on with me and it used to be out of sight out of mind, now it's in my mind, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I would say that. I think that, like I said, because I've been in so much pain too, and I go to the doctor's office or the ER and they tell me it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing after all the lab workups and the scans and whatever else they say, maybe you should look into seeing like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or maybe you know, like a neurologist or so, all biologist or whatever. And I guess that kind of it made me think like, well, what is going on? What is wrong? Why do I feel like this? Why does no one else feel like this? Like
Mm.
I just don't understand why it has to be me in this position. Why can't they just, you know, solve the problem? You go to a doctor because you want help and they give you the remedy because they're experts, you know, in that area. So I thought that I was doing the right thing by going to see them, and then when they don't have the answers, it's like, how am I expected to have the answers? I don't know anything.
Mm. Mm. So really wanting them to help you
Yeah, yeah,
and being really disappointed when they're not
definitely.
helping.
Yeah, like I said, I think like it's so much to bear every single day. Like I just wish it would just stop.
Mhm.
Like if I can wake up or not, and it just stops. The hurting, it just stops. The pain would just stop. Like I can have a restful night. Like I can enjoy my food. I can
Mm.
walk outside without, you know, feeling like pins and needles. Like those are things that I want to do, but they're not reality for me.
Mhm. Mhm. So part of what I'm hearing you say is that so much of what you enjoy about your life isn't something you feel like you have access to right now.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't enjoy anything. There's nothing when you live day by day in pain. I don't think that enjoyable for anyone.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a few questions that are delicate questions, and I recognize that and I take it very seriously. Okay. Um, Part of what you were saying earlier was if I could just go to sleep and not wake up, that would be really nice because then I wouldn't be in pain. Right. So that would be an understandable thing to be saying right now because you're in so much pain. So I'm wondering, have you ever thought about dying by suicide? Have you ever thought about killing yourself?
Um, I can. I don't really know how to answer that, but I, like I said, I just want the pain to stop, and whatever that means is whatever that means. If it's a remedy. If it's a doctor's answer, then yes. If it's just not waking up, then that's okay too.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, I just want to stop.
Mhm. So would you say right now you don't have any sort of plan to try and hurt yourself?
No, no,
Okay.
not at all.
More hoping to get relief or help from someone.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Have you ever hurt yourself in order to try to get that relief? So some examples of that might be cutting yourself or burning yourself, things like that. Has that ever happened?
No, I've never done anything like that.
Okay. Mm. Thank you for answering both of those. I know those are hard questions. I'm sure grateful that you answered them. I'm gonna go into something we were kind of talking about earlier that I think is relevant here, and I want to understand a little bit more. So, can you kind of walk me through what your typical day right now looks like? You're kind of getting at it's hard to eat, it's hard to sleep. So, if you could kind of paint that picture of when you wake up, tell me what that's like.
Well, I wake up probably like every 2 hours or so throughout the night. So when I finally wake up for the last time and it's like daylight outside, I'm like, oh well, here we go, another sleepless night.
Mhm.
And then I'll try to like get up, take a shower if I can. Most of the time, it just ends up being like, using a sink and washcloth because just standing in the shower is a lot, and then getting myself to like as low as the tub, that's also very, very painful. So really, I just kind of like use the sink for whatever, brush my teeth and everything like that. I watch TV. Um, I like coloring, like the adult coloring books. I think that's kind of cool.
What kind of
Um,
TV do you watch?
Maybe like news, just to see what's going on, weather-wise, politics, different things like that. Just to, like I said, I just feel like I'm so like disconnected.
Mm.
And when I see what's going on and like how other people are doing, then it makes me, I feel like I have a sense of what's like going on out there versus just me being in the house all the time by myself.
So watching TV feels like one point of connection.
And as much as I can, yeah, in this moment.
Absolutely. Okay. What happens after you watch TV?
Um, a lot of times if I watch TV, I end up like dozing off because I'm just like just so tired. So I'll probably like doze off or something like that, and I'll wake up, and by that time, it may be like 3 or 4, and I'll like try to eat something. Um, I can't stand for a long time, so a lot of times I just try to like put something in the microwave, possible. That's really simple, and you know, um, yeah, it's not great, but it's something. All right, and then after that, I just kind of you know sit for a while. I don't. My days don't really consist of too much right now. I try to I'm on the phone all the time with like trying to get my stuff in order because I'm not working, trying to get like some benefits like disability or something like that. So always like answering their phone calls and calling their offices and providing my information and all they want the taxes and the income and the this and the that and the that and the this, and so it's a lot of back and forth phone calls, and then after that I just feel completely like exhausted. And then for some it's probably not a lot, but for me when I'm already like less than a half a tank, that just really takes me on E. So
Yeah, that's demanding. Okay. Okay. And how long ago did you stop working?
About I would say about a year ago now. Yeah, like 9 months to a year ago. And I've been, like I said, I've been trying to get like benefits of not working, and it's hard. But like I said, I go to the doctors. I'm trying to like get some relief, and they keep telling me that they don't know what's wrong, and you can't qualify for, certain benefits if you don't have anything to provide for documentation. So it's just like a constant back and forth and forth and back, and yeah,
Yeah, almost like another way of being left out or pushed aside.
essentially.
And so you said earlier you live alone, right? And that's still true. Have you ever lived with anybody, roommates, a partner?
No, I live with my parents for most of my life. And because like I didn't go away like some kids go away for school and stuff like that. Like, I went to school, but I still stayed at home. And then I probably moved out um like after my dad passed away. I didn't like being there.
Mm.
It was just too many reminders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so have you, since moving out, was that something that felt, it sounds like it felt right in terms of I wanted a new place. And when you were moving out and kind of no longer living with your mom, did that impact anything, any other realms of your life?
Um, Not quite.
Not that you noticed.
No.
Okay. Okay. That sounds like a big transition.
Um, I mean, like I said, like my parents, like they were stuck to themselves. Like, I love them, but I shouldn't say, but I love them and I love them. And they were there for me and they provided for me. We were just not that close. So it's not like when I was there, I was like talking to them all the time, like doing things with them all the time. So it really wasn't a huge shift. I was there with them in my area, and now I'm here in all of the areas around me.
Mm-hmm.
So they had their own stuff to go through themselves. So I didn't really try to burden them at all.
That makes sense. You mentioned you didn't go away for school. Tell me a little bit about like your academic. We talked about work. I'm curious about. You said you did go to school though. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I I did go to school. I tried to go to school. Like I went to like community college or whatever, and like I mean I didn't want to, but that's what you do, right? That's what they say you're supposed to do, and like my parents really wanted me to, so I did the best that I could to try to make them proud. And the first year it was hard, but like I managed it. Like I did decent. But the second year it just was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And then my fat father passed away during like the spring semester, so like my mom really needed me, so I just felt like he was the one who really wanted for me, and I wanted that for him too, but my mom needed me, so, and he wasn't there anymore, so I felt like I just had to again just do what needed to be done. And plus I wasn't that passionate about being away. I was just there for like business or something like that. I didn't know why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So part of going to school is to make your father proud.
Yeah, I think especially like they just that's thought of very highly. So I felt like throughout the years, like I never really did anything to like make them super proud. And I thought that, if I went to college, then that would be something I could probably do. They could, be happy with their daughter, but ultimately it didn't work out that way.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
It didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't graduate.
Mm-hmm.
So that goal, I guess I thought that I could do to make them proud, I've never reached it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just not, I don't have what it takes.
Mm-hmm. So I think why I'm pausing right now is because it sounds like for you to make them proud, you had to do something. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted anything, I needed to make certain hours at the store or make certain sales, or I had to get in certain grades. Like everything was like like I had to prove myself in some way in order for them to show some form of like acceptance.
Mhm.
Um, and if I didn't, then it was just like I wasn't even there.
Mhm. So much of that kind of parallels what you started our time with, which was I'm trying to tell these doctors that something is wrong with me. Something hurts. I'm having a lot of pain to the point that I'm not sleeping, I'm not eating, I can't work. And just because I can't give you this outcome doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Does that feel true?
I guess I never really thought about it like that, but I mean, to your point, yeah, I try to prove, or I try to show whichever way I can to accommodate to whoever needs they are. But I feel like I fall short every time. And when that happens, like everyone just kind of like shuts the door.
Thank you so much for really being so honest and transparent with me about a lot of your life, a lot of the past that has happened, a lot of what's going on right now. And I want to come back as we're kind of closing to the now part, which is you're here because you're still in pain, and you're here because people still aren't listening to you. And I would really like to work together to figure out what is going on. And part of that, what I know for sure is that if it was easy, you probably would have already figured it out. And so I think with both of us really taking a careful look together, we can start to try and unpack part of what's going on. Does that sound okay?
I mean, I came because like, the doctor said to come here, but like
Mhm.
I just don't know how talking will make my pain go away. Like I don't I don't understand what one has to do with the other. Like I don't get it.
Mhm.
Like what if I talk about it, like my back's gonna stop hurting, my wrists are gonna stop hurting, my neck is gonna stop aching. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a fair question, right? Of how would something that feels like it's way over here have anything to do with this thing? And I think part of my job is to try and put those pieces together and see if that is the case. So I don't have the perfect, I wish I had the perfect answer for you with that. But what I do know is that our bodies are connected to our mind.
It's not all in my head though. Like I feel I know myself.
Right, right. I believe you completely. I really do. And I think my interest is more on figuring out how what's been going on and what's been, when I say what's been going on, I mean the piece around I wasn't able to pay attention to what was going on in my body for a long time because I was busy. I was busy living, I was busy making money, I was busy supporting my parents. And now it's so painful and so difficult that I can't help but listen. Ignoring isn't an option right now for me. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm curious about. And that's what I'd like to spend some more time looking at together if you're interested.